Hi, this is Carla from L'Aventura.
This is Parker Jameson from the band Starkill.
This is Heather Michelle from Grave Shadow.
This is Danny Marino from The Agonist.
This is Diana van Giersbergen from Xandria, and you're listening to the Great Metal Debate podcast.
Hey music fans, the podcast is back with another of our artist interviews. Today we're joined by musicians from Italian symphonic metal band Overcrown. Thank you Giulia and Dusan so much for joining us today on the Great Metal Debate. Well, let's get right to it. You're the first Italian artist that we've interviewed on the podcast. Tell me a little bit about what the music scene is like in Italy.
We've not been touring that much in Italy, but for what we could have seen up here in northern Italy, there's not a big interest in metal music, especially underground bands. Actually, there is not a big interest in art itself.
So how long have each of you been interested in music, and did either of you receive any formal training?
Well, I can tell you my experience, then Giulia will tell her own experience. Well, I've been listening seriously to music, mostly metal music, from my early teenage, and started playing keyboards first, self-educated, at the age of 14. I switched to the drum set in 2013 because the band needed a drummer, and we couldn't find one, basically, so that's it. I've been taking drum lessons since then, so it must have been really similar for Giulia, something similar to this.
Yes, I started getting interested in music at the age of 12 with a tape of Beethoven and Vivaldi. Later, I discovered bands such as Nirvana, Marilyn Manson, and Depeche Mode. But the bands which made me start singing were Nightwish with the record Angels Fall First and Evanescence with Fallen. My mother convinced me to start singing the church choir at the age of 17. But there were not a proper formal training, so I nearly learned everything I know about singing by myself, just trying to emulate the techniques of singers as Tarja Turunen. I started 3 months ago to take private singing lessons.
Sounds like the training's ongoing. Now, if you would, for folks who aren't familiar, give our listeners just a snapshot of how Overcrown was formed, how you guys came together originally.
Well, officially, we formed the band in 2007 with the name Crownless. But let us say the thing got serious and we defined the lineup in 2013. The main matter was the several years of memory changing, and we couldn't find serious people to play with. The founder members are me and the guitar players Fabio and Alexander, my brother. The current singer Giulia joined the band in 2009, and Elia, the bass player, 1 year after her.
And your early material certainly has I would say, a symphonic metal sound. Speak a little bit, and Giulia, you've already alluded to Tarja. Speak a little bit about your influences. What artists have most influenced you?
Well, initially we had a strong symphonic metal influence, mainly coming from Nightwish, Evanescence, Within Temptation, and a slight black death metal touch from bands as Dimmu Borgir and Amon Amarth. We started getting interested in new sonorities through time, coming mainly from doom metal, post-metal, and dark rock. Swallow the Sun, Antimatter, Anathema, and Catatonia, to name a few. probably those influences will have greater meaning in the album we are writing now, which will come after the first album, Higher. There are some other particular influences which are mainly mine and Dusan's. We are talking about dark wave and synth music. Speaking of which, we could mention bands as Depeche Mode, Ultravox, Dine Lakaien, Diary of Dreams, Nation, Unheilig, and many more.
And so how do you guys prepare for the live performance, and do you have any pre-concert rituals that you do before you hit the stage?
Well, me and the guys usually drink a considerable amount of beer before the show, while Giulia prefers to stay alone for about 10 minutes before the show for concentration, I guess. Before getting on the stage, we usually have a band hug in a circle and we shout something, I don't know, there is not a term. We just shout something and that's it. When we were on our last Eastern Europe tour, we don't really remember the after show, too much alcohol and food goodness.
We talked earlier a little about the influences that Overcrown has. If you could make a wish come true, what band or bands would you like to go out on tour with?
I have a dream. Playing with a lot of great bands such as Swallow the Sun, Anathema, or Nightwish, if Tarja were still part of the band. That's because these are the bands which move me mostly, and I would be honored to share the stage with them very much. I have also another dream. Collaborate in duet with Till Lindemann from Rammstein and Dave Gahan from Depeche Mode. Great artists and great voices.
Let's talk now about the soon-to-be-released album Higher. How long has that been in the works, and when will the album be released, and also what formats will it come out in?
We've been working on this album for a long time, let us say about 6 months, but finally we can announce that Higher will be out on the night of Halloween, the 31st of October. It will be spread throughout the web on many platforms such as Spotify, Bandcamp, and many more. You will be soon able to find it anywhere, almost anywhere. The compact disc format will be available to anybody by writing an email on our address, which is overcrownmetal at gmail.com.
Does the band have any surprises in store for this album, say a guest artist appearance?
Unfortunately not, but we are planning a little surprise for the next record.
Wow, getting a little teaser about what fans have to look forward to on the next album. So after this current album, Higher, is released, what are the upcoming plans for the band for the rest of the year?
Well, what's next for the band? We're looking forward to promote Higher with a several number of gigs. Probably we will organize a European tour next year. We're getting out the band's website. There will be all news and everything, every information people could need from our bands in this website we're planning to spread out. We're currently building up our own studio, as we told before. We're already writing and arranging the new album, so there is plenty of work incoming, actually, yeah.
Exciting things coming up for the band. Before we let you go today, Giulia, please remind listeners where they can purchase music and merchandise from Overcrown.
Of course, you can already buy our demo Monochrome from Bandcamp, and soon Higher will be available too. For the merch, there will be soon a page dedicated to it on the website.
I think fans of melodic and symphonic metal definitely need to pick up this new album, Higher. We featured Overcrown's music on our podcast before, and it is amazing. Thank you both so much for joining us today, and best of luck going forward, Giulia and Dusan.